Alert. Protoform X detected. Vector 958.
He's here. Depth charge. Maximize!
Hey there everybody, this is Camzilla51 back again with another Transformers video review. After eagerly checking my mailbox for the past 2 weeks, I've finally received the toy I never had. Depth Charge's immortal nemesis himself. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the video review for the TFCC 2014 free membership incentive figure Beast Wars Rampage, also known as Protoform X. For many collectors my age, Beast Wars was our Generation 1. It was one of the best written stories in the world of cartoons back then, and still remains in the top 5 television shows of Transformers history to this day. Its award-winning CG animation style was rare and revolutionary for its time, and the voice cast was unparalleled. And speaking of cool voices, Rampage and Depth Charge had 2 of the best. Our subject today came into the picture during Season 2, and was one of my personal favorites. Depth Charge, a relentless maximal security officer turned bounty hunter, was hot on the pursuit of the maniacal, sadistic, cannibalistic, and immortal escape test subject Protoform X, also known as Rampage. But this X is not exactly that X. According to the club, this character is set in a parallel universe similar to the old one. Certain key character and plot points are the same. The aging Maximal leaders subjected one spark to torturous experimentation in an effort to unlock the key to Starscream's legendary immortality. The subject learned fear and pain and torment, and sadistically unleashed its revenge upon its captors. But here's where the story splits. The original job of the Axelon, Optimus Primal's ship, was to somehow get rid of the dormant Protoform X. But in this universe, they succeeded. X is jettisoned to a barren planet, surviving impossibly due to his new gifts, and dealing with the maddening silence. Is Transmutate there? Or is the only spark he has ever shared a kindred understanding of pain merely a figment of his psychosis? Normally I don't really care about packaging, but with the club I tend to make an exception. There's nothing special on the outside, only the exciting notification that, hey, it's from FunPub, it's here, and the identifying stickers of who's inside. But the box itself is oddly small for a nice figure from the club. It's like, come on, that's not really all there is it? That's what she said! Oh! Anyway, being used to their trademark foam inserts, however, the excitement is cut a bit short once the box is opened. The figure is simply bagged, and it makes me worry about possible in-transit paint scraping and other possible damage. This feels like a step down, especially when his partner from last year got the foam treatment. To be fair though, Depth Charge never really got a nice package to call home, and Rampage will soon have a cozy spot in Transmutate's box. The bio card is great in contrast to Depth Charge's in graphic design colors, and the clutching pose on the art is riveting. Question though, is Rampage a Maximal or not? His packaging stickers read Maximal Rampage, yet his card simply lists him as a Cybertronian with a Roman numeral X in place for a faction symbol. Despite how gorgeous the card is, the lack of foam has caused a dent from a sharp protrusion from the figure, and that's just a shame. There are many stylistic similarities in Rampage's jet mode with the original's crab mode. The claws are the largest and most identifiable trait of a crab, and these sharp wings mirror them. The front end even echoes the claw shape in the negative space. The silver abdomen and spikes up front resemble the crab head and teeth. I can even see a centralized carapace in the middle of the jet. This fantastic gradient work and juxtaposition to the purple are my favorite parts. A subtle paint design in the shape of an X would have been cool, but it can be imagined. Here's the sore thumb. His head sticks out. We knew and accepted this for Megatron, but this is quite pronounced. Does it work for this character? I think it does. Rampage relishes in the pain he slowly inflicts upon his victims. He almost likes talking them into accepting death, much like Tarn from the Decepticon Justice Division. Can it be hidden better? It can be turned around, but that looks worse. You get a visible screw and the spikes face the wrong way, so I don't mind the first choice. Besides, I kinda like him being able to turn his head as he flies. My thoughts on Rampage's transformation are exactly the same as his host figure. I appreciate every tab that locks his jet mode together at the wings. I'm also a fan of any jet former that swings its legs down for a landing, because that's just awesome. What I don't love is how clunky and scratch-risky the shin transformation is. The chest portions move up to perfectly frame any faction symbol at the heart of whoever wears this mold. Unfortunately, the head reveal has little effect, because there's little left to reveal. The arms are pretty straightforward, and use clever two-sided sculpting to swap a jet thruster for turbine forearm detail. The backpack intakes come together very neatly around the post that holds the top shell on in a very visually appealing way. The whole assembly comes down to secure itself into the chest plates, albeit not as securely as a tab somewhere closer to the waist would have. The first edition Deluxe Megatron was my go-to Prime Megs figure for efficiently complex play, and Rampage is just as fun to fiddle around with. One of the first words that comes to mind is macho. This powerful and domineering body style is perfect for Rampage's character. Several pieces bear a striking resemblance to the original's design, such as the dual-spiked toes and pronounced pecs. The silver abdomen even has the same placement in both modes as the original's crabhead did. But the one thing that is exclusively Protoform X is the biggest part of contention in the fandom. The head. It's small. Could it have been bigger? Well, it looks small because of the head spike extremities needing to fit within the cover hole in alt mode. Perhaps the head could have been designed to sit as low as Megatron's does, and it would have made the head less apparent in the vehicle mode, but I'm not sure it could have also satisfied the narrow space budget of that opening. Could the spikes have been molded facing back? That would have interfered with the aesthetics too much. Plus, they aren't very sharp. Kinda rounded and doofy looking. I think this could have been done, seeing as this is a collector's figure, and safety reasons are not as much of a concern. It's certainly not a flat head as some pictures led us to believe. It has dimension, but on camera the spikes tend to hide that back half from a 3/4 shot. Here's something interesting though. He has a pointy chin, but it's red so it gets lost blending in. If it was painted, or if the neck was painted a different color, I think it would have made the head look a little bit bigger. I agree with Pia in that the back kibble emphasizes the smallness. It's a bit of a tricky process to fold it down with the rest of the back plates without hampering the arm articulation, but if you finagle it, rather terrifyingly I might add. The resulting package is visually satisfying. That's also what she said. This mod instead makes the rest of the body just look larger in scale, which I can dig. Until you place him next to Depth Charge, since his proportions are more proper. Great contrast in style to Depth Charge. Where he is spiky and rigid, Rampage is curved and organic. Normally these conflicting styles would say, good guy, bad guy, but the individual cohesive presence of each drives home the opposite. He also looks great next to Transmutate, as she brings out the sensitive curves of his design and makes him seem more at ease. Seeing this visual relationship makes me want that figure when I previously didn't. Both figures cool down his bright red palette. I'd like to pose him holding the 10th anniversary Transmutate head in an homage to the Beast Wars episode of the same name, but her head dwarfs his significantly, and almost humorously. Perhaps the new one would be more appropriate. Rampage is almost a perfect set of standard joints. He has ball-jointed shoulders, bicep swivels, 90-degree elbows with a potential for double-jointed poses, thanks to the transformation. Wrist swivels, ball-jointed hips, thigh swivels, 90-degree knees, and hinged feet. He has no waist joint, but like Depth Charge, his hips have so much range that they compensate for it. They also allow for some very high thigh movement. The head articulation is different than Megatron. Not better exactly. Can't tilt forward or back, which would have been great for looking up at the stars, or looking down at Transmutate's head, or looking down at victims, or things like that. But he can tilt side to side, which ends up being surprisingly expressive and characterful. He can also spin all the way around, something Megatron could never do thanks to his helmet design. Sometimes, though, I worry about the chin or the back of the head scraping up the neck base, since there's no wiggle room. That's it. It touches. There's no space. Rampage comes with one fusion cannon. I find myself biting my tongue, trying not to say Megatron's fusion cannon, because it was such a unique and iconic thing to that character. I like the arm-mounted look, but only because I like how it looked on Megatron. I think Protoform X is the kind of character that would prefer ripping things apart with his bare hands, but he did use his gun often in the show, especially for his tank mode. This cannon has a flip-out peg to be held in the same fashion, but it rather feels like a placeholder gun just molded in the same color as the originals. Not the best. The best part, however, is that a seller named Sunlink on Shapeways has spent his last few months designing a deluxe-sized triple-barreled cannon that even fits under the alt mode. And it's for sale, just in time for this figure's release. Sunlink's gun for this looks awesome. I might order it if I've got some extra money. But just remember, it's a painting project. As usual, I'd reserve most judgment until I held the thing in hand, and I'd make another video showcasing it if I chose to get it. The QC issues in hand were an instant disappointment. There's mold flash on the head, spotty paintwork on the face details, mismatched chest gradients, the yellow intake vent is splotchy, there are scratches here and there, sprue burrs, and even wrinkles from the injection molding process. And you, never see that. If there was no hope for righting this wrong, I'd be very sad. But luckily, Fun Publications has a booth near the door of the BotCon sales exhibition floor, and they spend the whole weekend replacing parts on BotCon toys with poor QC issues. I can't remember if they also fixed the free membership figures, but I'm definitely going to give it a shot. Just like last year's depth charge, I think this Protoform X is an incredibly clever use of an existing mold to breathe life into an old fan-favorite character. Despite the head issues, I understand their limitations and I appreciate what they were trying to do. He lives up to my eager expectation, but just barely. His QC issues have scratched my rose-colored glasses. But I'm willing to let it pass because this guy was free. And his first toy was very big and nowadays very expensive. I never had the privilege of owning a Beast Wars Rampage toy when I was a kid. I was probably given an either-or scenario in the toy aisle, and I went with the manta ray in my favorite color. But now that I've grown up and I've watched the show of my childhood again, I wish I could have gotten him as well. But I see that character, and I hear his voice in my head when I look at this figure, and I think that's one of the best goals an update figure like this can accomplish. Anyways, this has been the video review for the Transformers Collectors Club 2014 free membership incentive figure, Protoform X. If these Beast Wars themed incentive figures go beyond these two rivals and continue for at least another year, I'll be a happy 90s kid. Only time will tell, and the club is doubtlessly getting ready to reveal whatever the next one is going to be at their BotCon panel. But until then, this has been Camzilla51, and next time, we'll be taking a look at the new 2014 BotCon figures. So stay tuned, and I'll catch you later. Rampage, also known as Protoform X. Damn, that was cool, I like that. Or is the only spark he has ever shared with a kindred... That's what she said. Oh, I need a Tums.
No, you need Prilosec OTC.
Shut up, Larry.
I'm telling you, it cures your farts like nothing else.
And some people guess why I'm insane.
Anyway. Despite how gorgeous this thick card is... Wait. No, there's no thick in there.
That's not in the script.
I can even see a centralized carapace in the meal... This powerful and domineering bottle... That would have interfered with the aesthetics... Aesthetics? It's not aesthetics, it's aesthetics. Like, dad aesthetics. For the BotCon sales and I think that's one of the best goals an update figure can come.